Every single game on the board for Saturday, January 10th. Welcome, guys, to the Pre-Scout on WagerTalk TV. This is my favorite episode of the week. Been a weirder week for us on the Pre-Scout. We did miss a day of posting, but we are always going to be here for you guys with picks on Saturday. I know Carmine does his 6 and 60. I got to make sure to do my Pre-Scout, and we're looking ahead. We record this typically Friday afternoon, Friday evening. Good news is, with the Friday slate, only 3 games, so not as many teams in action. We got a big slate to break down. Very excited. I've got Terry Edelmann joining me. A lot of you guys know Terry from Twitter, from YouTube, great channel, of course, also from Picks and Parlays. So, guys, welcome in Terry Edelmann. Terry, good to see you, brother.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to make my pre-scout debut.
Hey, thanks for being here, man. I'm excited to be doing this show, and we started off doing it live, and then just was kind of working out better with the times and things. We'll probably start doing some live shows more as like a rare special type of thing, and just doing these recordings. And it's nice because we're kind of fitting the mold right now with looking ahead. Right, we're recording this on Friday, and people are going to be seeing this either late Friday night or into Saturday. And it goes to show that, it's a full-time job here we're doing because, when people are still handicapping the Friday slate, we're already on to Thursday. And when you're handicapping Saturday, we're on to Sunday. You got to always be looking ahead in the industry and in the handicapping business. So we got a lot to get to. We got a lot of stuff to cover. 14 games, Terry. Let's not waste any time. Let's dive into the very first game. And I will say, you already mentioned to me, you're not much of an early games guy. We've got New York. We've got Boston. I'm just going to say this New York Rangers team, I don't know how many times I've mentioned this now, whether it's been kind of their home performance or their road performance, the splits are just crazy, right? So part of me, I will say, part of me is tempted to go ahead and take a little piece of this Rangers team just because they're on the road in bounce back mode. Like, for whatever reason, you're supposed to be better defensively. You're supposed to have the matchup. It's Madison Square Garden, and they play so poorly when they're at home compared to on the road. So I know it's an early start game. I've talked a lot about unders with early start games that can make a difference. The routines are off a little bit here. Lean Rangers for me, but I can't really talk anybody off the under because these games are so weird. Do you find that these games are just so much more different than a regular 7 p.m. start?
Yeah, it's the 1 p.m. Eastern start or their 12:30 p.m. Eastern start. It's that very first game. The 3-4 o'clock Eastern games are much, much better. But I found on Saturdays that first afternoon early game, things tend to go weird in that game. So I try to stay off unless there's something I absolutely love. And in this one here, the Rangers are a total mess right now. They are a fade team for me. I was on Buffalo yesterday. They took care of business in that one. Losing Shesterkin, Fox going back on IR, they're just struggling. They've actually lost back-to-back on the road in Carolina, in Washington, and especially at home. Jonathan Quick, I think, is 0-6 now on home ice. Jonathan Quick, too, his best days are behind him. The Rangers have won 6 of the last 7 between the two teams, and 4 of the last 7 have gone over. So we've actually had higher scoring games. Boston's the hot team right now, winning 3 of 4. I would lean with the Bruins, but no play for me here.
Yeah, it's just so weird looking at those early start games. Look, the Bruins are used to playing in them, and we give that to them, but it just seems like whenever there's those games, it seems like kind of snooze fests, at least first period. Maybe if anybody's interested in the under, we could go 1.5 under first period, look for a live number to the over. But Terry, this won't make my card. The only reason, honestly, why I would lean to the Rangers is just because those road home splits are just so ridiculous. You did mention the head-to-head matchups, which is always interesting to look at. But, man, the Atlantic Division is crazy right now. I'm happy as a Habs guy. Right now we're talking first place playing Detroit. We'll get to that game. That's going to be huge. But, Boston, they're still kicking, and they don't want to go anywhere either. So it should be a great one to look at. The next one on tap here, we've got the Calgary Flames as they continue a little road trip here, taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm seeing consensus number roughly around minus 145 for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Home favorites total at 6, some spots showing 6.5. When you look at this Calgary Flames team, all you think about is like, man, this team has to learn how to rebuild, Terry. I mean, they refuse to rebuild. What do you think about them?
Well, they looked like they were heading towards a rebuild earlier on in the season. They were one of the worst teams in the NHL, but then just started catching fire at home and started really winning games at home and racking up the wins. And like you said, not just the Atlantic, but the NHL standings in general, things are so close this year. And you kind of sitting, waiting for some teams to break away. Obviously, the Avalanche are broken away, but teams in the East, nobody's really breaking away. And then nobody's really falling off the map either. So it's hard for teams to consider about being a buyer or a seller when everyone in the East really has a chance of making the playoffs right now. So it's pretty crazy how the standings have been going recently. And yeah.
I just think that when you look at kind of this matchup overall, you're kind of thinking to yourself, like, do I want to lay that number with Pitt? I don't know. But then also, do you have any faith in Calgary? I don't think I do either, you know?
Yeah, for me, minus 130 is as far as I usually go. I'll go to minus 135, but I really don't go past that. Looking at this matchup specifically, I do like Pittsburgh. I think either you take them in regulation or you take their team total over. The home team has won 7 in a row between these two teams. Now, East versus West, they only face each other twice per year. So previous history stats don't quite matter as much to me when it's East versus West. But the home team does have success, and this Flames team is playing so bad on the road right now. And this Penguins team is so hot. So I like Pittsburgh in some fashion if you wanted to take them in reg or on the team total. And then, unfortunately, Crosby assist. It's been making me so much money. I've been just riding Crosby assist. But because now the Penguins are this big of a favorite, I got Crosby assist minus 113 the last game. If it's minus 120 or better, I will 100% be on Crosby assist. But I'm thinking we're probably looking at a minus 135, minus 140. So I might be priced out of that here with Crosby assist. But he's been really consistent for the Penguins recently.
I mean, you know, it's impossible to take a look at a game that Pittsburgh might do well in and not take a Sidney Crosby point prop or assist prop or goal prop or whatever it might be. And, you know, maybe even the power play stuff, because, you know, that team, like, you know, they get to the power play, they're zipping it around. They're not too bad out there as well. And, you know, the weird thing with Calgary is like, it's like I always talk about bounce back spots and like, you know, this team should be so disgraced with themselves, so embarrassed with themselves. Like, but you know, the angle sometimes that I've tried to adjust because it's burnt me many, many times and I've lost a ton of units doing this, Terry, is like, this team's got to show more pride. This team's got to show more spirit. But sometimes you just don't have it. Like they did not look good against the Montreal Canadiens, and then they didn't look good against the Boston Bruins. It's like they might have wanted to look better, but they didn't really follow up one performance. Like they pretty much had 2 equally poor efforts, you know, so it's hard to really think that one was going to be better than the other. All right, the next one here. This is kind of this is one of those ones where it's a big number. The Dallas Stars, San Jose Sharks, okay? But you look at a team that was struggling for a little while here with the Dallas Stars. They get back on track against the Washington Capitals. Alexi Protas missing, Tom Wilson missing, you know, some kind of struggles a little bit defensively lately for the Caps. I get it. And I know a lot of people would tell me like, dude, you can't go against the Sharks. There's so much value on them. And so I'm trying to figure out how I want to approach this. But usually when a team that's very skilled and a high tier team gets out of a slump, I want to back them again. You know, it's like, I don't know if I wanted to back you during your whole losing streak, but once you're back, I kind of want to think you're back again, you know? So how do we approach this one? Because I see this game. And, one thing I think when I look at the San Jose Sharks is like, they can't keep being involved in these crazy games. Like, or maybe they can't 6-3, 5-4, 4-3, 7-3, 5-2, 4-3. Like, if you love overs, man, you've been loving. And the crazy thing is the last 2 San Jose Shark games, they weren't even supposed to go over the total. And then 5 minutes to go in the game, they sneak over the total. You and I both know that can come back to haunt a team a little bit. I know you like your underdogs, but I'm a little tempted to play the Dallas Stars in some way, shape, or form here, just after, getting off their losing streak.
Yeah, this is giving you guys one of my premium plays on the site for tomorrow. Give me the over in this game. I know you just said, can San Jose continue sticking with these overs, but it's like you said, it's been a while for them going over the total. And Dallas, 4-3, 4-3, 6-3. Yeah, the last game 4-1 against the Capitals, they went under. But the Capitals, obviously, like you said, with injuries there on offense, that's going to hurt a team. And this Sharks team is just so improved from last year and really so fun to watch because of Macklin Celebrini, of course, but they've got other guys that are stepping up at times as well. 5 of the last 7 between these two teams have gone over 6.5, and 8 of the last 11 meetings between these two teams have gone over 6.5. So both teams heavily trending towards the over right now, heavily trending towards the over when they play each other. So I love the over here in this game, over 6.5. And then Macklin Celebrini, if you want to take him for a goal, he has scored in 7 of his last 10, 6 of his last 7 games. He's scored a goal in, and he's shooting the puck a lot. 4, 5, 5, 7 shots over his last 4 games. He had previous games with 8, 8, 7. So Macklin Celebrini is just a guy on a mission right now. So I would look at him anytime goal or over 1.5 points here. And then the over 6.5. Dallas does own this series. They've won 9 of the last 10. So I do think you're on the right side with Dallas. I think they win this game, but I love goals.
Team total over 3.5 for me. I don't care if it's not the best number. I usually like backing with the team totals. Give me the team total over for the Dallas Stars. Look, this Sharks team, they're leaking poor defense. They're giving up chances. And I saw some crazy number, and you just talked about how good Celebrini has been. Like, he's been involved in 47% of their goals. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. That's like some NBA type stuff, like, being involved in half the scoring. And this guy's playing with 21 guys on the ice. There's a lot of different guys that could be a part of this team, and he's always the one doing the scoring. So Dallas team total over 3.5 is intriguing for me. And again, Terry's at Picks and Parlays. You can find me at WagerTalk, of course. Make sure you guys go over and get his plays. And of course, you're doing videos on the Picks and Parlays website as well, or are you have your own YouTube channel, of course, I know, but tell us what kind of content you're doing.
Yeah, I have my own YouTube channel, Terry Edelmann Picks, nice and easy to find on YouTube. And then I do videos for the Picks and Parlays YouTube channel, usually for the big slate. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday slates. I'll do videos for them.
Awesome. Yeah. Hockey is just, look, when it's the 2 or 3 game slate, it's still fun to get after it. But when you see a massive board, then you can kind of, get the strainer out and just pick which games you want to choose from. And it makes it a lot better. All right. This next one here. This is tough, Terry, because how the hell do we find a bet in this one when the number is as big as it is? I'm talking Colorado. I'm talking Columbus. It's a tough 2-game set when you play against Vegas and then you play against Colorado. What do you think here? How do we approach this? How do we make money on this game?
Yeah, this one's a little difficult here. The Colorado Avalanche looked human. They lost 2 games in a row, both in regulation. They scored 3 goals in those 2 games. Thinking maybe they're a little bit human here in this one. Come back home and just light up the Ottawa Senators 8-2.
Destroyed them.
Yeah, it was not pretty. But Ottawa's second night of a back-to-back, facing this Avalanche team at home, 18-0-2. If you're looking at this game, you got to look at the Avalanche in some fashion. Now, of course, with how pricey they are, team total, you would have to probably look at over 4.5. Now, before their 2-game losing streak, they were scoring 4 or 5. They were scoring 5 goals a game. They scored 8 in their last game. And this Columbus Blue Jackets team, Dean Evison decided to go with Jet Greaves and bench Lincoln's. Even on back-to-backs, he's been going with Jet Greaves, saying Greaves gives us the best chance to win. Ever since he said that, Greaves has lost 3 games in a row, 5-4, 5-2, 5-3. He's given up 5 goals in each game. Columbus plays in this game, but they also play in Utah on Sunday. So will he continue to ride Jet Greaves into the ground, or are we going to see Elvis Merzlikins in net? Either way right now, honestly, I know it's a high number at 4.5, but I would be looking at the Avalanche team total over here in this one. One prop I will be on, though, is Brock Nelson, anytime goal.
Yes.
He is
and
absolutely
even just the point, you get value on the point as well. And then the goal is a great price.
Yeah, I scored in 5 of 6, 2 multi-goal games during that stretch, plus 165 I'm seeing him for the score. We usually with the anytime goal odds, when they first come out, usually you do see better odds when there's more books available the next day. So obviously shop your lines. But Brock Nelson, anytime goal, I think that's a great bet here. A great prop for this one.
That was just an absolute bloodbath, Colorado against Ottawa. Like, tough schedule lately for Ottawa, but man, oh man, they're buried in the Atlantic right now. If you're a SENS fan or in SENS management, you're looking at Detroit, you're looking at Montreal, looking at Boston, and you're thinking that you should be right around where they are right now. But tough one for Ottawa. Look, I was tempted for just the over because I don't think that Columbus is capable of containing this Colorado team. Like I told you, I've tried to get better with my handicap and of like, don't ask teams to do things that they haven't been doing, because then like sometimes I'm almost bad at following streaks. Like I have a bad habit of kind of going against the grain too much on stuff. And when I looked at it here, I always look at last 10 games, 5-on-5 expected goals. You got Columbus actually number 4, Colorado number 6 for expected goals for. They're creating chances. And I thought to myself, what if I looked at Columbus over 2.5? And then I was like, well, if you're going to take that, you might as well just take the full game over. So, it's tough to think that there's a possibility that they could contain the Avalanche. They're just so deep. They've got and what makes a really great team great is that they don't take any team lightly. They treat everybody the same. They'll come at you from every direction. They're going to be a really tough team. I think like you're playing Vegas and you play Colorado, like, what game could go under is that game against Utah. And everyone's going to say, well, it's third game in 4 nights. And I'll tell you one thing that I've changed with my handicapping a bit recently, because the totals have been a little bit different this year for me, is I've noticed that lack of rest doesn't always mean goals. Like I used to think that fatigue meant bad defense, which would lead to goals. But it seems like more so now that the fresher a team is, the more we're seeing goals. It's almost like when a team is so tired, they're just going out there and kind of going for a skate, keeping it safe, So I wouldn't be shocked if that Utah game went under, but we see a game go over against Colorado. So we'll see what happens. It could be a good prop game to look for as well. But look, Columbus can give the good effort all they want, but you're going to get Natchez and McKinnon and all these talented players. Like when you've got Nichushkin buried in your lineup, you're a pretty good team. How many teams would love to have Val Nichushkin on their lineup? Like great playoff player, big guy. Like I think a lot of people would love to have him. And he's what, like where would you rank him on Colorado? Like their 6th best player, like 5th best, you know what I mean? Like 5th best player. I don't know where you'd rank him, but like, if that guy is down your depth chart, you got a pretty good team going. Guys, we got a special going right now. This is applicable for both Terry and for myself at Picks and Parlays and WagerTalk. Pretty simple here. New 26 is the promo code. You can use it for any package, 7-day, 30-day, 90-day, maybe an NHL 7-day pass, an NHL 30-day pass. I know I got a good card going tomorrow. I've been pretty low volume lately, but we're going to attack the board on Saturday. I got a big NFL play going on Sunday. And I think I'm looking for consensus numbers to come out, but I might have a big play going late Saturday night. So looking forward to that as well, or Saturday afternoon. So Looking forward to waiting until the numbers come out for the consensus, but new 26. Look, Terry, people will say, hey, we're trying to pitch ourselves, but realistically, we're trying to save people money. You guys buy daily picks. It costs you more than just using that promo code new26. Terry, you do college football, you do NFL, you do NHL, a lot of stuff. And I love when you and I get to talk CFL in the summer a little bit. It can be frustrating or it can be great. It's one of two things, but you're betting a lot of different stuff right now, right?
Yeah, I'm very, very low volume in college sports. Like I do have one play tonight, but very low volume in the college sports. But NFL, NHL, MLB are my best three, and NHL is my best sport. That's what got me into sports betting was the NHL in the first place. So, yeah, new 26, and you can use it on things that are already on sale. So you can use it on anything over on the site. So, great deal, and that applies to both of us.
New 26. It's a great, and you know what? You don't have to use it on one particular deal. You can use it for a long-term, short-term, whatever it is. If you're buying something more than a daily pick, probably should be using that promo code new 26. All right, let's keep it going. We got a lot of games to get to, and I always say, like, I'm like, I want to make sure I give each game some attention, and then I'm like, holy shit, it's been 20 minutes already. That's just the way it goes. Next one on tap we have here, Tampa Bay, Philadelphia. Tampa Bay consensus number I'm seeing is roughly minus 145. Some spots popping up minus 150. Your thoughts on this one here? I got to get your thoughts, honestly, on Philadelphia. What do you think here, Tampa Bay and Philadelphia?
Well, the Flyers are, because of the standings so jumbled, and some teams are kind of overplaying their skill right now. Mm-hmm. And Philadelphia is a team where I'm just not quite sure about them. They're kind of there, but I could see them falling off. But I could see them sticking around in the playoff race. This game in particular is a very tough matchup. This Tampa Bay Lightning team started off the season badly. They did not look good. And they were looking like maybe they were at the bottom of the standings for a part of time and looking like everyone was old. Vasilevsky, of course, started the season off injured and just did not look good. But they've turned things around big time. So when I'm looking at this one, it's Tampa Bay in some fashion. I think you'd have to look at the puck line here, I believe. I'm not sure the odds. I don't have the odds up here for this one. Tampa Bay is around minus 140.
Yeah.
So, I would look at Tampa in regulation.
Yeah, I was going to say puck line right now, you can get like plus 175, which would be a massive number.
Yeah. Yeah, so if it's plus 175, you could get into regulation probably for plus money as well. That's probably how I would go here. This Tampa Bay team is just so dominant right now.
They've just been so good. They're so consistent as well with their game, led by John Cooper, who I think, it bothers me that the Florida teams have been so good. Like, hey, look, we'll watch Tampa Bay win the cup for a few years. Now we're going to watch the Panthers win it for 2 years. All you Florida fans out there watching this video, yes, you guys live rent-free in my head. It bothers me. The Florida-based teams continue to get the job done. But you know what? What's cool about this Tampa Bay team this year, though, is that they've overcome some injuries. Like, I know Florida's injured. Absolutely, they're injured. But Tampa Bay dealt with some injuries as well. When I look at this game here, I'm potentially going to look towards the under here. I saw some 5.5, but I did see some 6s. Philadelphia wants to drag everybody into a dogfight. And I know we think of Tampa Bay as a big sniping type team, strong power play. Kucherov's been on a roll in 2026, but Philadelphia can drag you into a dogfight. And, we've seen some games where they put some goals up on the board, but their team is built down the middle, strong centerman, good defense. I think we see an under in this game here, Philadelphia and Tampa. I think at least Philadelphia is going to try their best to make it an under, Terry. That will help them out the most. So if this game is 1-4 or 1-5 wins, it certainly favors Tampa Bay. Philadelphia doesn't want to get into a game like that.
And previous games between these teams have been very low scoring. 3 of the last 4 went under 3.5.
Whew.
Yeah, so these two teams, Tampa Bay takes care of business, but very, very low scoring games between these two teams. So yeah, I don't hate your play at all in the under here.
Buffalo coming off a win against the New York Rangers. Colton Ellis from Nova Scotia. You know I love to cheer on the Nova Scotian boys. Kind of a weird 3-goalie situation for a while going on in Buffalo, but he's starting to now get more starts there. New York, hey, they're pretty bad at home. We'll say, maybe it's a win, maybe it's, just New York's bad. But Buffalo's come to life. They had that massive winning streak, and then it looked like a whole brand new team. How do you feel they fare in this one here? We've got the Buffalo Sabres, Anaheim Ducks, total 6.5, minus 150 for Buffalo. We're starting to see some price tags as if the market thinks this team has completely changed who they are. Buffalo, Anaheim, what do you have for us?
Yeah, this one here, it's a matchup of two teams going in completely different directions. This Anaheim Ducks team started off the season really well. They're a high-powered offense. They were winning games, really fun to watch. And the Buffalo Sabres were kind of looking like the Buffalo Sabres. Continue to struggle. But a general manager gets fired and the new one comes in and says everyone's expendable. And then all of a sudden they go on a 10-game win streak, lose the 11th game, so they couldn't continue that. But since then have won back-to-back 5-3 and 5-2. This Buffalo Sabres team is scoring a ton of goals. And the Anaheim Ducks issue right now is stopping goals. Their last 5, 4, 5, 7, 5 to Carolina, 5 to Philadelphia, and then 5 to Carolina. Not sure what the odds are going to look like for the Sabres team total over, but the Sabres are scoring goals right now in bunches, and this Anaheim Ducks team cannot get a save. They cannot stop the puck to save their life right now. And Lucas Dostal, I don't know if they rushed him back from injury, but he has not looked himself whatsoever.
I'm seeing like minus 110, 115. You might be able to get like a minus 105 when more books start coming out with them. But yeah, like, Jonathan Davis, I'm sure you've chatted with him before in different chat rooms and things. Like, I had him on the show and he loves his stats. And he was talking with me about Lucas Dostal, and he definitely kind of opened me up to like how the Ducks were reliant on him and people probably weren't realizing it as much. And now that Dostal has kind of dropped his game a little bit, it's been very apparent. Absolutely. We've seen it, Terry. And, maybe they're going to keep struggling. I've been trying to get more into the market reading, a part of my handicapping, learning from some great folks about that. And I think we should learn a lot about this with this number. Like, if you told me in November that we were going to see Buffalo minus 150, right? I would have been like, you're nuts, but that's how times can change, right? What do you think about the number overall?
Well, the way these teams are playing right now, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
This Buffalo Sabres team they do look like a completely different team. And they've been able to play well defensively too during this stretch where they don't give up a ton of goals. But the Ducks, they're scoring goals still 3, 2, 4 back-to-back games of 2. So they're not getting shut out. It's just, in some games they're playing close games, but they just cannot stop the puck right now. So they're an over team right now, and then Buffalo is playing really well. So I would look in the Buffalo direction.
This team just looks like a changed team right now, and the Ducks, whether it's goaltending or defense, they just seem like they're going through it. And it goes to show, like, pro athletes and teams altogether can go through ebbs and flows, and they look like a little bit of a different team right now. We'll see if they can change. But again, I told you, Terry, New Year's resolution for me is to be a little more of a trend guy. And when I say trends, I'm not just following it blindly, but I got to be more aware of what's going on and pick it up early. Because my biggest pet peeve is like, well, Buffalo's won 8 in a row already. It's too late to hop on now, because that's how you feel sometimes, is you're a little bit late to the party. So you want to get to the party early. Because if you show up late to the party, it's kind of like with Winnipeg. Like, I'm more interested in backing Winnipeg now than I am fading them, because they've already lost a ton of games. But if you haven't made money fading them, you might as well look for spots to get on them, because they're not going to lose, 20 games in a row. Knock on wood for Winnipeg Jets fans. We'll see how that can go for them. We want to mention, guys, we've got an unbelievable deal, of course, with the new 25. But I also wanted to bring up this fantastic website that you guys know that we love, the HOF app, hofapp.com. And it is my favorite place to research, my favorite place to go to find props, to find an edge. And I want to let you guys know, if you're interested, of course, ever, and using my code, you guys can use the code Andrew. Very simple, very easy. You got 7 free days, but more importantly, 50% off your first subscription. You guys try it out for 7 days. You don't like it, it's not for you. You're all good. If you guys like it, if you've made cash, if you've made money, if you found winning wagers, you get 50% off your first subscription. Now, we'll show you guys here with this app. Like I've talked about it multiple times. My favorite thing about this is the grading system. And I know other websites do this as well, but I love the grading system. And, you go to research. So here's the game. We'll give you the odds. Then you go to the matchup. It's going to tell you, all right, this team ranks this number in goals. This team ranks this number in goals against. 28th shots on goal, 29th in shots on goal allowed. Then you go to everybody's favorite section, the player props, right? You've got the C matchups, the B- matchups, the D matchups. And of course, with the Ds and the Cs are where you bet the unders. And then you see an A matchup or an A-, and you got to click that. You're very intrigued. You're curious. Why is this grade the way it is? You want to pull it up? Well, here's your answer. Because this is a Boston team that does not do well against centermen. Mika Zibanejad plus 210 at FanDuel for Saturday early start against the Boston Bruins. Look, this Boston team ranks 24th overall in goals allowed, but they rank 27th in goals allowed against centermen. They're also the second worst team in the league in shots on goal against centermen. So very important to look at as well. And you can scroll down the list. You can look at the game log. You can look at how they're doing. And of course, the best part as well, you can look at the sideboard here and it will tell you the best spots to go. And even more important, guys, you guys can click this and it will send you right to your FanDuel, to your Fanatics, to your DraftKings, and it will have that slip loaded up. You click one button and you bet it. That's how easy it is, of course. And, I'll bring Terry back because I know, Terry, you love props. One of my favorite parts about this as well is the leaders section. And you go to the leaders section and you can look at last 10 and you can just scroll. You can just scroll and scroll and scroll. And I like the last 10, last 5 head-to-head. And my favorite thing is points and head-to-head because as well as I do, sometimes certain teams just play better against other teams, but certain players play better against certain teams. Like, Sel Brainy, he's in a matchup where he's got 10 a point in 10 straight meetings. Like, that almost seems kind of intriguing. You already talked about it with Dallas earlier. He's a guy that we can't ignore, whether it's 1.5 points, whether it's a goal, or whether it's just a parlay leg. He might be worth looking at. But what I like to do here is I like to look at the filters page. Go here to the filters. You go to the games, click what you want. You go to the matchup grade. And you go here, and I'll put it to like B- or C+. So that way, it's going to show you all the biggest trends. Plus, it's going to show you the guys that have the best head-to-head matchup. Because you might have a guy that, is doing really well in the last 5 games. But what if they're running into the best team against left wingers? You might be screwed, So you want to know. And this is why I love the HOF app. You love to look at this kind of stuff and you can kind of find things out. So, Terry, I know you're a big props guy. I know you can get behind an app like this. And it's just so great to look at because I'm not saying you can't cash with the D grades or the C grades and stuff, but there's been stuff that I've looked at with NFL where this team, and I found it out like through the HOF app where it's like, okay, this team is one of the best teams against receiving yards, against the pass out of all teams in the league. But then they were like a bottom 5 team against tight ends, and you're not going to find that out everywhere because a lot of websites will just tell you this team is bad overall against the pass or good overall against the pass. They might not tell you how they do against a certain position. So, guys, once again, if you want to sign up, use the code Andrew, 7 free days. But more importantly, the 50% off your first subscription, that's where you're going to have the most success. Get a little bit of a deal, get some savings. And Terry, you're a big prop guy. I know you love that stuff. You bet the goal scores, you bet the points, you bet the assist stuff. You'll do it all, right?
Yeah, actually, yesterday I had goals, assists, and points.
Nice.
And then I'm a streaks guy, so the streaks are what a big portion of my handicapping is streaks. And when I'm doing props, I like guys obviously that are hot right now, and then I prefer them to be hot against the team they're facing as well. And then if it's a goal scorer, I prefer him to be shooting the puck.
Yes.
3, 4, 5 times a game. So I look at a lot of different things. I don't just pick a prop because that player happens to be doing good recently. I look into a lot. So an app like that would be great for sure.
A lot of steps that go into it, right? A lot of steps that go into it. And, like I said, you want to have one certain ingredient you like. Hey, this guy's playing well. Then you look at the matchup. Then you look at the head-to-head. And if it all works out, then you're really in for a good day. Keeping the train on the tracks here. Next one we have is Vancouver, Toronto. For whatever reason, it's always fun when these two teams get together. I know Vancouver is in Edmonton as far as the big Canadian market, but Vancouver still has a good fan base. But Terry, I'm going to be honest. I kind of compare Vancouver to Calgary, in which both Western Conference Canadian teams should probably be doing a rebuild. What's your take, Vancouver and Toronto?
Yeah, Vancouver is another one of those teams that have played better on the road than at home. These road home splits for some teams are really weird. Vancouver is actually 12-10-2 on the road. So they've actually technically a winning record on the road. The Leafs are 15-5-5 at home. So Leafs have been great at home. And this is a very home series. The home team has won 16 of the last 18 meetings. So I could not get to Vancouver in this spot. Yes, they've been good on the road, but recently this Canucks team, they've lost 5 in a row. They're giving up 3, 4, 5, 6 goals a game. So they're giving up a ton right now. The Leafs seem to have got things together recently, especially at home. So I would look towards Toronto in some fashion here in this one. I just did not like the odds -165. And I don't really want to take Toronto in regulation. They've gone to overtime in 2 of their last 3. And then Vancouver's gone to overtime in 2 of their last 4. So this one here is a pass, but I think Toronto ends up getting the win.
Yeah, I had the Maple Leafs against the Philadelphia Flyers, and as well as anybody, I love to make fun of the Maple Leafs as a Canadiens fan. I'm preying on their success or on their downfall. But at the end of the day, is what's funny is they put themselves in such a bad situation to start the season off that even with all the points, and of course I'm biased, I follow the Atlantic closer than any other division. That's the division I know the best, but it's crazy to see that Buffalo had to have like a 10-game winning streak to barely be around the playoffs. And then now Toronto, they've gotten, like, even the games they've lost recently, they've lost in overtime. They've gotten a point, but yet they're not even close to a playoff spot. When I say close, they're not, they're around that spot, but it's so competitive. So every game certainly matters for them. Looking at this Canucks team, like just the goals they give up, whether you're the Flyers, whether you're the Kraken, whether you're the Sabres, no matter who you are, everybody's really scoring on this team. I don't really trust their scoring overall. I wouldn't actually talk anybody off. Like, I know at the start of the year, this Leafs team was a dead nut under team. And I know maybe it had something to do with the injuries. I wouldn't be shocked if this was more of a boring Leafs game than people predicted to be. Vancouver has no choice. They've got to play defensive. And I think that they actually have it in them. Like, we saw them try to do that against the Bruins. It was a 3-2 loss, but 2-2 going into OT. Lean under here because Craig Berube's style is helping them. I feel like the players are starting to kind of finally dive into Craig Berube's style. So maybe that can help them out a little bit, but lean towards the under. No play for me on that one. But the next one, Detroit and Montreal. This is the big one. This is the heavy hitter for me. And, every time I've been talking to people, I've been saying, look, at least now when I'm talking your ear off about my team, I'm talking your ear off about a winning team and a good team. I'm not talking your ear off about a 25-win team here. Terry, they're playing against the Red Wings. I know you're a good head-to-head guy, good matchup guy. This team has had some good battles against the Red Wings in the past. Look, they've done good against their division recently. They've done well, I should say. They beat Tampa. You know, you go ahead and you have a tough one against Florida, you know, and you beat Florida twice. You know, this is a team that's done very, very well overall against their own division. You beat Boston around the holidays. Now you got to beat Detroit. How do you feel about this matchup overall? I'm seeing right now minus 135 for the Montreal Canadiens. It is a home game at the Bell Center, and they've now won 2 straight since coming back from their road trip.
Yeah, both of these teams playing pretty well recently. Detroit's won back-to-back after losing 2 games to Pittsburgh. And then, Montreal has won 4 of their last 5, but I think that might go back. Yeah, they've 5 of their last 6. So Montreal is playing really well right now. And yes, I really do look at past history stats, especially between division rivals, because they face each other often. Montreal's won 4 of the last 5 between these two teams. But the Habs love to score against Detroit. They've scored at least 4 in 7 of the last 8 meetings between these two teams. So they score a ton of goals against the Red Wings. Now, having said that, the last 4 meetings have gone under 6.5. So Montreal is scoring 4 goals, but not letting Detroit score much. We've seen previous games go high scoring. What's the total here? 6. Yeah, so 4 overs, 1 under, and 3 pushes to a total 6. I think we get goals here. The Habs have been scoring 4, 4, 6. So I would look at the Habs, either take their team total or maybe look at the Habs in regulation here in this one. Maybe even the over, because Detroit scored 5 goals in back-to-back games. And then Montreal is scoring a bunch right now. So different ways you could look at this one. A player prop that I'm going to be on for sure is Oliver Kapanen here. And this one, he's scoring 4 or 5 games. Now, not necessarily shooting the puck a lot, only 1 shot in his last game, but he did score back-to-back games with 3 shots before that. He's hot. He's scoring right now. I'm seeing plus 320 for Oliver Kapanen. So most likely I'll be on the goal prop. If his point prop is available and it's plus 120, plus 130, I may go with the point prop instead. He's been producing a lot. Points in 7 of 10. So Oliver Kapanen has been playing really well for the Habs. I'm sure you've noticed, Andrew.
I'm happy to see him getting the respect he deserves. I hate people saying like, "Oh, this guy's only good because of he's playing with this guy." He's like, I love being a Montreal Canadiens fan, but you know, the fans and the media, my fellow fans can annoy me more than other fans of other teams. Like I get more annoyed sometimes by other fans of my own team I cheer for, just because like, oh, well, Kapanen, like I saw some guy saying that Kapanen would be in the AHL if it wasn't for Demidov, and now Slavkovsky's playing on the second line. You know, what I like is that everybody thought that Slav was going to be stapled to Caulfield and Suzuki forever. And, you know, he is a good team guy, so he wasn't saying anything to the media when they're asking him. But I think we'd all be stupid not to realize that he's probably been a more confident player since separating from those guys, which sounds crazy. He is still great with them, but I think the ability of him to, like, Demidov is talented, Kapanen very talented, but Slav is kind of like the dog on that line. And I think Slav knew on the first line, he wasn't the dog. Like, he wasn't the main guy, you know? But he's carrying the puck more. He's got some confidence. And Kapanen, the thing with him is he's always in the right place. Like, he doesn't have a ton of assists. He's got some, but he's just a sniper. Like, he is always in the right spot. And, you know, when Demidov has the puck or Slavkovsky has the puck, you know, he can connect and make it happen. I'll tell you, I'm a little bit worried about this game because I just think that there's been some defensive play that if they were playing against teams that had more, like, let's be real here. The Florida Panthers are banged up right now. Like, Sam Montembeault did make some saves for the Habs on Thursday night, but he didn't have to be great. Jacob Fowler on Wednesday night probably had his quietest game of his career so far against Calgary, because it's Calgary. So I am a little bit concerned that there could be action from start to finish here. The good news is I believe we're going to get Jakub Dobiš starting here. And this is the one thing about the 3 goalie system that we have here, and I don't know if it's projected, but I'm guessing we're going to see him because he hasn't played in a little while. Dobish long-term, Terry, that I was looking at some numbers, and this is not from my research, but I found some reporters talking about it. He does best the longer rest he has. Like some goalies, they need to get in the mix. You know how it is. Like they're like, I got to play at least every couple days. For some reason, Dobish plays the best when he's been chilling for like a week. Like he's just been like hanging out. So if it is Dobish, I'm looking for the Montreal Canadiens. I like it, but I am a little bit concerned offensively. The first period overs have been tough for me lately, but I wouldn't talk anybody out of that because this is a hard hitting, high scoring, capable Detroit team that I think could cause them problems early on. It's going to be a good one though. This is going to feel like a playoff game because this is the game that, like, who would have thought Detroit and Montreal battling it out for the top of the division, at the start of the year? Nobody really would have thought that, but I lean towards the first period over. And I also do think there's an opportunity for us to make some money with the Montreal Canadiens. We just got to figure out a way to do it. Maybe looking at team total, but as you mentioned, the player prop market is probably a really good way to go as well. Again, guys, we mentioned it to you before, but if you guys are interested, we've got this deal, new 26% off anything, not 25, not 27, 26% off anything at Picks and Parlays and at WagerTalk as well. And I've got this one going at WagerTalk as well, 7-day all access for $69. That's under $10 per day. And that's the same price of a 3-day pass regularly. So if you're interested in buying a 3-day pass, you're going to get 7 days for the exact same price for the time being right now. Keeping the train on the tracks here, Terry, we'll get your quick thoughts on Seattle and Carolina. It's a massive, massive number here, so I don't have much. I'm probably going to pass here on this one. When I look at the Kraken, though, recently, this is a team that I think that they've kind of gotten their act together a bit more, but I feel like they've been able to do that against weak defensive opponents. When they play against good defensive opponents like Carolina, that's where they struggle the most to generate offense. So I'm actually kind of tempted to look towards like a Seattle team total under if there's decent odds on it, but it's hard to really look at a game like this with huge odds like Carolina has to be able to make money.
Yeah, and people that are coming to watch your show here for this game are going to be a little disappointed because, yeah, I can't get involved here. One of the few games I'm completely passing on. The Kraken didn't look good, then they looked really good, then they didn't look good for a long time, and now they look good again. So they're kind of all over the place. They did just have their win streak snapped by the Wild in the last game. Carolina was not looking good at all, but they've won 3 games in a row. So, and it's tough. Seattle is an under team when I look at them for the most part, but they've been scoring some goals recently. Carolina's scoring some goals recently. So I can't get involved with the over-under. I can't get involved with the total here. And then I did not believe I saw any props that I like. So this game, unfortunately, is going to be a pass for me.
I don't blame you. Like I said, if I was playing, I'd probably look towards Seattle team total under just because I think a team like Carolina could really suffocate them. Okay, this is a game that I'm interested in your thoughts on here. The SENS. Look, I feel for the SENS. They've been going through different time zones. They were playing the Mammoth. They were playing at home against the Red Wings. Then they play the Mammoth and they play the Avalanche. Now they're back at home against the Panthers. I don't know what the NHL schedule makers have against this Senators team, but this is just a ridiculous schedule for them, and they're going to get a Florida team that's not feeling good about themselves after that loss against the Montreal Canadiens. But the number's kind of intriguing here. What are your thoughts? I'm seeing almost close to a pick 'em. Florida and Ottawa. What do you think?
Yeah, I saw a pick 'em too here in this game, and both teams are not playing well. Florida's lost 4 of 5, losing to Montreal, losing 5-1 to the Rangers, 4-1 to Toronto, 6-2 to Montreal again. So they did have that 2-1 win against Colorado sandwiched in there. So, of course, that's great, but otherwise not playing well. And then Ottawa, I know this is going to be the spot where people are going to look towards Ottawa, probably like they look towards New Jersey when they face Pittsburgh. I was on Pittsburgh in that game. In my opinion, yes, Ottawa got their ass handed to them in an 8-2 loss in their last game, but I like to back teams that are good teams. to bounce back after a bad loss. If it's a team that's struggling, like the Senators are right now, they've got goaltending issues. Florida's dominated 7-2 in the last 9 meetings between these two teams. So I like the Panthers, not playing the best right now, but neither of these teams are playing well. Florida just has Ottawa's number. So if Ottawa was looking to bounce back against after that last loss, Florida's not the team they want to face. So I like the Panthers. Not sure I'll get to it, but I like the Panthers here.
Yeah, the odds I thought were a little bit weird in that one. That's the only thing. I was like, the Senators are struggling so much, but it's close to a pick. But I guess there's so many injuries right now for Florida as well. They're not getting healthier anytime too soon until Tkachuk eventually comes back, and Marchand. They're taking it easy with Marchand because they're like, you know what, we don't really want to rush him back either. But I'm not gonna lie, like. I'm going to pull this up right now. I know the show is running pretty long, but it's been fun chatting with you. I'm going to pull this up here because we got to check out what are the odds right now for Florida to make the playoffs? Like, it's probably like just super high, right? Let's see. Florida to make the playoffs. See if I can find -145. So that's interesting, right? Like if they let's say they lose like 2 of their next 3 games, 3 of the next 4 games, then what are those numbers going to look like here? To put it this way, the Philadelphia Flyers are -125 to make the playoffs. The Florida Panthers are -145. Like, some teams are going to start to fall off a little bit, but it is a little bit intriguing to see if you go back-to-back Stanley Cups and then you don't make the playoffs, no one's going to really hold it against you. But it's going to be interesting if we see this team go all the way 2 years in a row and then they don't even make the big dance. Could be a little bit interesting to look at. Chicago and Nashville. This is one of those examples where we do have one team that will be on a second half of back-to-back. I'm going to put it this way. I don't usually write a lot into starters versus backups on a lot of teams. There's some teams that I do more than others. Spencer Knight is on a tier of his own. He's in the upper echelon of the NHL. If it's not Spencer Knight, I don't want anything to do with the Chicago Blackhawks. I really don't. So, maybe I'll be tempted to take Nashville. And this price is very indicative of why we should feel this way, because they're opening up around like -195, -200. Chicago second half of back-to-back. Who knows? One of those ones where I still want to be able to watch the game before I see anything. But, maybe Nashville can score some goal. Spencer Knight saves this team so much, Terry. And when he's not the goalie, it's much different for them.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they might go back to him on the second night of a back-to-back here, just because they're playing well, they're winning games. He made 4 starts in a row. Then Soderblom did get the game against Vegas. Didn't look too bad. Soderblom has not played well, but he's won back-to-back starts. 4-3 against Dallas and then 3-2 against Vegas. So both in overtime. So he hasn't looked too bad recently. I don't like the odds here. Nashville, I'm seeing like -200. Yes, they've been playing well, but the Hawks have won. Yeah, the Hawks have won 4 games in a row heading into their game on Friday. So they're playing well. The one thing about this series is Nashville owns Chicago. 13-2 in the last 15 meetings. This is not a team Chicago wants to face. So I could not get to Chicago here in this game against the Preds, especially with the Preds not playing too bad recently. They're a team like Calgary where they were completely awful, but then they got hot randomly. So that's the NHL this year. Just because you're really cold doesn't mean, or if you're a team like New Jersey that was red hot to start the year, doesn't mean you can't go cold. Same thing with Tampa, ice cold. Now they're hot. The NHL standings are crazy this year.
Very, very weird. Very, very weird. It's all about who's up, who's hot, who's cold. Speaking of which, New York Islanders and Minnesota Wild. This Islanders team, I think, has caught people off guard a little bit just with how they've done this year. I mean, what do they have? 3 first-round picks last year, and obviously the top dog goes first overall, and he's, one of the guys that could have been on the Olympic team. We're seeing right now, though, Minnesota 175, 180 at home against this Islanders team. You're Wild. The jerseys are right behind you. What do you think about this one?
Sorry, I was muted there. Yeah, I don't hide my fandom. I'm obviously a Wild fan. I don't try to hide it, but this game is interesting because it's the first game back from a long road trip. Obviously, the Wild have been on a long road trip here. So coming home, first game back, usually you want to fade a team in their first game back from a road trip, but I'm going to be passing in this one. I'm not taking the Islanders. The Islanders do not like to face the Wild. The Wild have won 8 of the last 9 between these two teams, swept them in 3 or 4 years. And then they've scored at least 4 against the Islanders in 4 or 5 meetings. So not the team that the Islanders want to face. I can't get to the Wild at this price, especially coming off a long road trip. I do think the Wild wins this game, but minus 180 would have to be a parlay piece here. I don't want to take them in regulation. They've gone to overtime in 3 of 5. The Islanders have gone to overtime in 3 of 5. So I don't trust the Wild in regulation here. I would look at the money line if you want to back the Wild, or look at the team total. But yeah, tough game to back them here in this spot.
Yeah, look, as I mentioned, I used to think, and there's still some times where it's applicable, but I used to always take first game back at home, take the over. Team's going to be tired and stuff. But with a team like the Wild, they might just play an absolute trap game, and it might be a low event hockey game, and they might drive the Islanders crazy with how they play. And Patrick Waugh is no stranger of that style of hockey, even though the Islanders can play some higher scoring games as well. We've seen some more goals for the Wild. I honestly think, Terry, that Boldy's one of the most underrated players in the league, under talked about. If he played for the Edmonton Oilers, people would love him. If he played for, and don't get me wrong, state of hockey, I know Minnesota, they get their flowers, but I think a player like Boldy, those guys, they deserve more credit. But I still think this could be an under game. I think that Minnesota's going to swallow this team up, and they're not a team that the Islanders are going to be able to skate around and do whatever they want against. So maybe the under's the move, but not sure I love that 185, 180 number on them. LA Kings, Edmonton Oilers, obviously LA Kings, it'll be second half of back-to-back to them. I feel like the Oilers have been really set up well recently. They've just had some really good spots for them. Like some teams, I mentioned Ottawa's scheduling, and well, it's kind of the opposite here. The Oilers have had really good scheduling working in their favor. Kings, Oilers, what do you think long-term? We've seen this Oilers team do very well against the Kings,
especially in the playoffs. So this is really interesting. When I was looking at games between these teams, LA actually went 3-1 against the Oilers last year in the regular season. 3 games in a row going under 5.5. So really low scoring games. But in the last 2 playoff years, so including last year, the Oilers 8-3 and 9 of 11 went over 6.5. So these two teams play completely different games. In the regular season, Edmonton's like, okay, LA, you can win now. We'll take care of you when it comes to playoff time, and then they do. They take care of them every time. So this game specifically, not a great spot for the Kings whatsoever here, and they are a team that I do like to fade for the most part. I did back the Oilers in their last game at such a great price at only minus 115 against the Jets. Minus 180 here against the Kings. Can't really get to anything here. I'm kind of priced out of this game. And then props, I don't believe there was anything that I really loved here. McDavid scored in 3 games in a row, plus 130 though. Hyman was assisting more, but now starting to score, plus 150. I don't bet a lot of Oilers props because same thing with Colorado. There's usually just not a ton of value, especially with the big guns. So pass here for me.
I got to say, when the Oilers win, they put up 4. It's very rare to not see that, so this is one of those ones. I had the Oilers a couple games ago against the Preds on the puck line. I don't do a lot of puck lines, like the spot for them. I just think this is going to be one of those games here where, despite a win or a loss in the first half of back-to-back for LA, it's going to be tough sledding against a very speedy and very fast Edmonton Oilers team. So I do think we see Edmonton get to 4, but would not be shocked to see LA contribute, especially if LA does lose on Friday. I would see them coming out guns blazing and with a lot of like motivation to them. But I think the Oilers are, you got to look at this condensed NHL schedule this year with the Olympics and figure out which teams are in good situational spots. And I do think it's a good situational spot for the Edmonton Oilers in this one. Last game up here, St. Louis and Vegas. Terry, I owe you one for being here with me for this long. I appreciate it. I've been wanting to have you on. You've had me on your channel, and here we are. We just passed the hour mark here on the show. If you guys stuck with us for this long, we really appreciate it, both of us. Hit the like button. It would mean a lot to us. Guys, if you can, let's try and get to 249 likes. 249. If we can get to that number, that'd be pretty appreciated. 249, guys, if you can do that. And comment below, let us know what you are betting on for Saturday. But Terry, let us know again where they can find you, get all of your picks, and any brief thoughts you have on the last game of the night.
I hope people did stick around because this just happens to be my favorite prop of the day is in this game. But yeah, you can find me over on Picks and Parlays, Winners and Whiners, of course, part of the WagerTalk family. So you can use the promo code there, new 26. My YouTube channel, I do an NHL show every day, Picks on Net. So you can find that, Terry Edelmann Picks. But this one here, Vegas 5-1-1 in the last 7 meetings between these teams, and they score goals against the Blues. At least 3 goals in 5 straight meetings, 4 goals in 4 of the last 5. So Vegas doesn't have an issue with scoring goals against the Blues, and Joel Hofer starting here on Friday night, so it should be Jordan Binnington starting here for the Blues on the second night of a back-to-back. Me and Andrew might have different opinions on Binnington a little bit, but I am not a fan of Jordan Binnington's. I think he's an overrated goaltender. And this year, yes, I know he's playing for a bad St. Louis Blues team, but he's just not playing well on night to night basis. And now he comes and faces on the road the hottest goal scorer in the NHL, Mark Stone. He scored a goal in 6 games in a row, 8 of his last 10. I know, Andrew, you said before about jumping on streaks. When is the right time? I stayed off Mark Stone. So he had scored in 4 of 6 games. And I still stayed off because I'm thinking, okay, Mark Stone's an assist guy. Last year, Mark Stone assist made me a ton of money game after game after game. So I was expecting him to go back to the assisting, but then he scored again. So the last 3 games, I bet him, and I've cashed on his anytime goal prop. Not staying off here. This is a great spot for him. Even if it's Hofer on the second night of a back-to-back, I would expect it to be Binnington. I like it. And then Mark Stone actually has goals in back-to-back games against the Blues. So shop your lines for Mark Stone anytime goal, but he's on a heater right now, and he's getting a very good opponent to keep that streak going here in this one.
Mark Stone, I think he's an underrated player. Talk about underrated players. People don't give him the respect as a 200-foot player. He's a great guy, great player, and you know what? He's going to be on Team Canada. Speaking of Team Canada, Terry, I finally started to flip my opinion a bit after that game where he allowed 7 goals. The thing is, I was at the game last February. I had so much fun. It was unbelievable. I'm not going to lie. I thought we were going to lose like 10 times. And Binnington, every time I watch back the highlights, he was so good. And you can't base an opinion off that. He's not going to magically be different. I've got some friends saying, he's not a magician. He can't be different because he puts a different jersey on. But he is a big game player. He really is. And so maybe he's like, man, my team is so shitty in front of me. It's been such a horrible year. Put me on a good team and I'm going to stand up and be better. But if not, they've got Darcy Kemper. They've got Logan Thompson. They're going to be just fine. This will be just a player prop game for me. Maybe I'll tail you on that Mark Stone one. Looking at this St. Louis Blues team, what are you going to get? You don't really know. Like, you can't take any unders with this Blues team right now, but they're not going to be able to trade goals with the St. Louis. But this might, for me, honestly, be the good old-fashioned Vegas at home first period over. That's where they've always been best with the first period overs. It's kind of cooled off for a little bit. This could be the night to do it. St. Louis, they've got a couple of guys that can score, but for the most part, they're pretty top-heavy. What a long show. What an exciting show. Let's have a really good Saturday. If you guys wanted content, you got it from us. Puck time, we usually go 40, 45 minutes max. This was every game on the board for Saturday. in a little over an hour. Once again, guys, that code NEW26. Take advantage. I got a big play going in the NFL. We got big hockey plays going. Terry's locked and loaded already with his best bets at his websites. Don't miss out. NEW26. Take 26% off. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time right here on the Pre-Scout.